Now call to order the City of Joliet City Council meeting for today, Tuesday, September 21st. Presiding Honorable Mayor Bob Odenkirk. Today we are joined by Pastor Larry Tyler of Second Baptist Church.
Gracious God, our Father, we thank you for the privilege and the ongoing value to pause and invite you into these proceedings. Thank you, Lord, for the courage of this council, stakeholders, and constituents to still come together to seek the common good for all. We ask for your prevailing grace and mercy as we go forth. We ask for your presence to be with this council and all the stakeholders. We ask for your continued enablement to keep us in the background of the pandemic and disruptions caused by it. By your grace and mercy, let us proceed forth. This is our prayer in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Let everybody say, Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Hand wave, handshake, high five.
Thank you, Pastor.
Begin with roll call. Mayor Odenkirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Katie Napier with Wormer, Rogers, Duran, and Ruzon is here.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. As Krista stated, my name is Katie Napier, and I'm a partner at Wormer, Rogers, Duran, and Ruzon, and I was in charge of the city's audit this year. So my plan is just to go through the annual comprehensive financial report for the year ending December 31st, 2020. The report has three sections: the introductory section, the financial section, and the statistical section. I'll just touch on a few pages that I think are of importance throughout each of these three sections. If there's anything that I don't stop on that you would like mentioned or have a question on, please feel free to just let me know. Before I begin I just also want to say thank you to Jim Gadati and Christine Chingerly. They are the staff that we work the most with during the audit. They do a fantastic job getting us everything that we need and answering all the questions that we have throughout our field work. Okay, I will start with Roman numeral page 11, XI. This is the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This is issued by the Government Finance Officers Association. This was actually for the last audit, December 31st, 2019. But what this means is the city met all reporting guidelines, and it's the highest level of reporting that you can have. As we flip through here, I'll stop on pages 1 through 3. This is the Independent Auditors Report. So we come out and perform auditing procedures, and then our responsibility is to issue an opinion on the financial statements. So our opinion was an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion in all material respects. So that's the highest opinion that you can receive. I'll stop on page 22. This is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances. I'm just going to highlight here the general fund. This is the city's operating fund. It's used mostly for general purposes. The sources of it are typically not restricted. If you look about 3/4 of the way down the page, there was a net change in fund balance of a positive 1.3 million for 2020. And if you look further down that page, the ending fund balance as of December 31st, 2020 was 48 million 6.8. If you divide that into the general fund's expenditures, that's a reserve of about 3 months. We typically recommend seeing anywhere from 3 to 6 months, so the city is right in line with that. If we flip to page 26, this is the city's business type activities, the water and sewer fund and the parking fund. If we look about 3/4 of the way down that page, the change in net position combined fund, or change in net position for those two funds, a positive 7.1 million. So they're also in the green for those two funds for 2020. If we flip to page 30, this is the statement of changes in fiduciary net position for the police and fire pension funds. So the activity that you see here is actually a combined for both funds. In 2020, there was a net increase in net position of $61.5 million. That's about a 14% increase. If you can see the investment income, I'm about halfway up the page. Really good year for investments in 2020. There was a combined increase of appreciation and interest and dividends of about $54.8 million. As we kind of keep flipping through, you'll see on pages 35 through 88. Those are the notes to the financial statements. These are required disclosures. They supplement what you see in those front statements. There's all different kinds of disclosures, the city's accounting policies. I won't name all of them, cash and investments, but it really just details what you see in the front. And it's the city's complying with all the required disclosures and staying current with implementing new disclosures as well. The next few pages that I wanted to highlight are pages 92 and 93. We saw the activity for the pension funds, but a lot of times we'll get questions on how did the pension funds really do? How are they funded? These two pages highlight those two questions. On page 92 is the police pension fund. So about halfway down that page, you'll see the planned fiduciary net position as a percentage. You see in 2019, that was 56.44, and in 2020, it was 61.53. So actually, the police pension fund fundedness increased in 2020. Same with the fire pension, which is shown on page 93. 52.42% funded in 2019, and that increased to 58.21% funded in 2020. Pages 100 through 138. Again, this is just detail of what you've seen in the front statements, and this information actually compares that information also to the original and amended budgets. So if you wanted to kind of flip through there at your own leisure, you can see how actual compared to the budget for 2020. The only other piece of information that I wanted to highlight on, in addition to the financial statement audit, the city was also subject to a single audit. That is because the city had above $750,000 in federal expenditures. So each year a different program or a combination of programs are tested. In 2020, there was actually 2 programs tested. That is the CDBG program and also the CARES Act money. Both of those programs, we found no findings, and also unmodified opinions were issued for the single audit on those programs as well. That is all I had. I'll be happy to answer any questions on the report or anything that we do during our audit.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice job, Katie, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a proclamation declaring September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week.
Proclamation in the office of Mayor Bob Odenkirk. Whereas it is the privilege and duty of the American people to commemorate the 234th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America with appropriate ceremonies and activities. Whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th to the 23rd Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Robert Odenkirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd, 2021 as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves.
To Mayor Odenkirk, and members of the board of the City of Joliet, thank you for allowing us to come before you tonight to receive this proclamation to promote Constitution Week from September 17th to the 23rd in the City of Joliet. Most of Joliet doesn't know about this. Most people don't really appreciate the Constitution. However, we come before you, the board, and you do appreciate it, and you know about it. And so you can pass it on to the citizens of Joliet. I'm Pauline Herpy, Constitution Week chairperson, and this is Bobby today. She is we are the Lewis Joliet chapter, one of many DAR chapters in Illinois. Bobby is a member, webmaster of our chapter, and she is the Honor Flight co-chair for the state of Illinois. The Honor Flight, in the Honor Flight, we fly World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War vets to Washington, D.C., gratis, totally gratis, so they can see the monuments in Washington, D.C. And Bobby is very active in that, in the women's veterans who are going to be going.
And thank you for that, because as a nurse, I've flown on 3 flights with the World War II vets. And it's amazing, and now we're into the Korean and the Vietnam. So, thank you for all you do.
Bobby is also a nurse, and will be flying with the women vets. And when you fly out,
The first Illinois all-female honor flight is going to be on October 6th.
Out of Midway?
Out of Midway.
Perfect.
And I'll be a
Perfect.
okay, the purpose and mission of the Daughters of the American Revolution is to perpetuate the memory and spirit of the men and women who achieved American independence in 1776. To that end, we promote the education of the Constitution in our schools, libraries, and city halls. As Abraham Lincoln said at the end of the Civil War, quote, our safety, our liberty depends on preserving the Constitution of the United States as our fathers made it inviolate. The people of the United States are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow men who pervert the Constitution. Thank you very much for allowing us to come this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could we take a picture? Okay. Should we do it again? Okay. Well, we need it with somebody who's on your board, okay?
Didn't it go up?
Have cameras on it. Our cashiers are behind the counter on a raised platform, so they have great visibility. We have, all our shift managers have 15 to 30 years experience in the alcohol business. Sometimes we have 2 managers on at one time. When, for 37 years, we've had a liquor license there. In that period of time, we've had one liquor infraction. I don't know how many people here can say they've gone 37 years with the staff without having one violation, but that's us. During the Liquor Commission hearing, Chris Regis brought up to the fact that he went to be served there, didn't have ID, and he was refused. Now, we told Chris that it was his youthful age that kept him from being served, but it's probably more of our hard policy. We don't know you, we don't care how old you look, you're gonna get carded. We're very committed to community. That location's been with us for 58 years. We provided over 400 jobs. Many of those folks went on to be teachers, dentists, accountants, stockbrokers, real estate brokers, high school and grade school coaches, directors at the National Transportation Safety Board, and a former council member here in Joliet. You know, we're invested in the community. You know, 10 years ago, we decided to see just how many different organizations that we had been involved with and supported. After we got to 100, we stopped counting. You know, I remember back in the day where there were dozens of small and medium-sized businesses in Joliet that were very much ingrained in the community. You know, I'm talking about the John Manor Insurance Companies of the world, the First National Banks of Joliet. A lot of those companies are no longer around. Some have been brought out by others. But what I can tell you that those bigger organizations, the big boxes, they're not ingrained in the fabric of what we do. Moreover, you send a letter to a big box and request something for your organization, you get a form letter back saying, yeah, no. But you approach one of the smaller businesses or medium-sized businesses in the community that are involved, you get a positive response. You know, the ordinance that we're talking about here was passed with the idea of principle of fairness, helping small businesses compete with our larger rivals. The city's always recruiting new businesses, and I think that's great. But at the same time, when you have an opportunity to help some existing ones, responsible existing ones, I would hope that you would take that time to support them. You know, small businesses don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to shell out or fight legal battles. The bigger chains don't even need you for video gaming. They have 3 acres, they got a $5 million facility, they do 10,000 gallons of diesel a month. Illinois gives them their gaming license. Why? Because they have the clout, they have the money, they have the lobbyists. We don't. Who's there looking out for the small guy? You know, I understand drinking and driving probably better than most. My dad one night was coming back on the Center Street ramp heading eastbound on Interstate 80. He saw a motorist that needed assistance. He stopped to help. DWI crashed in the back of her car. Do I have a little bit more time?
Yeah,
Thanks.
we got a meeting.
Crashed into her car. The single mom died. My dad was rushed to Silver Cross Hospital, and 2 weeks later, he was out of the hospital. So we take our responsibility very seriously here. You know, a patron can go to a club, bar, gaming facility. Someone could go to a barbecue, company, family outing, and drink too much. And when they leave, if they don't get an Uber or they're not smart enough to get a designated driver, they're not going to be on horseback. They're going to be in a car, right? And at our facility.
Mike, if you can wrap it up, please.
So anyway, one thing I just want to say that, you know, small businesses can't afford to pay maybe what the cities offer their folks, their employees. But we offer a decent living, and we support our community, and we hope that our city government supports us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Barry McHugh.
Fortunate with a mask, you can't see me smile. It's a pleasure to be in front of you again. The issue raised by the special permit at 429 Buell Avenue to allow it to continue its rental is not about one individual's problem. This is an issue about the policy and the vision that the city council has for Joliet going forward and their neighborhoods. Does the city council support landlords from turning structures into single-family properties into rental units? Or does it promote the safety and continued efforts and desires of the people who live in that neighborhood? Right now in Kappa, there are over 350 residential rental units. We have around 1,700 residential units. So about 20% of the neighborhood is currently residential. The issues raised by Buell Avenue is about just that. The story goes that the unit was rented out over 8 years ago without the city's knowledge. City staff has stated during the ZBA, and I believe yesterday, that if it was brought to them prior to converting, they would have probably opposed it. Now we're here today to see if it's going to move forward. The neighborhood, Kappa, that I live in, is currently a diverse neighborhood. It's multiple and varied rentals with a predominance of single-family ownership. This is being pressured to change. While the increase in rentals, home prices might increase for a short time. However, over time, a lot of places have shown that the prices will decrease. They, the single-family owners, will be pushed out by the rentals, and in the end, single-family owner numbers will dwindle. There's also been a proposal made by Hudson Hollister to approve carriage houses, conversions, rentals in the neighborhoods. But for this to work, this needs clear guidance from you and adequate city staff to monitor and enforce it. Mr. Hollister specifically limits his proposal to carriage houses on owner-occupied properties, and this means not landlord properties. This would cause the city to inspect single-family and carriage house units as well. This adds a little bit more effort to the city, more work and stress on the existing city council, on the city workers. The bottom line for me right now is that we need time to explore all of these ramifications. The complex interaction of rentals, landlords, homeowners, and conversions in our neighborhood. This has both good and bad aspects to it. I propose to follow Councilman Clement's recommendation that he made at the Land Use Committee on single-family rental inspections. And that's give us 2 months to talk to our residents, to talk to the other neighborhood organizations, and determine what we feel now. This has been discussed before, but let's do that. 2 months to talk with them and to come up with where do the residents of Kappa, Cunningham, Reedwood, other neighborhoods, where do they want us to go on this? If you choose to rule on the special variance, I recommend you don't approve it. I do recommend and hope that you would give 2 months for the residents of the city to tell you what they feel. And I appreciate your time and energy.
Thank you.
Doug Zunich.
Hi, my name's Doug Zdunich. I'm a partner with the Bishop's Hill Winery. And I just want to talk about 429 Buell. My parents bought the house at 427 Buell back in 1965. My parents had that house for close to 40 years. Now, I'm kind of lost about this carriage house. If you're talking about the house that was just built in 2000 on the corner of Nicholson and Division, when I was a kid growing up, there was nothing there, not a thing. The carriage house garage is on Division Street. And that's all I want to say, you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nate Washburn.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Nate Washburn with Kavanaugh, Grumley, Gorbold. I'm here tonight on two quick matters. First is item 434-21. It's 142 Aiken Avenue. Both myself and the property owner are here present tonight. I made a brief presentation yesterday evening at the pre-council meeting. I will stand on that presentation. We'd ask for your consideration and approval tonight, and if you have any questions, we're here to answer those. Additionally, I'm here on behalf of Attorney Mike Hansen tonight on 433-21, which is the self-storage unit on Drowden Road. It's come to my attention that Mike was just contacted within the last 24 to 48 hours by that individual to seek some legal representation, and they'd be requesting tonight that this matter be tabled, and we hope that the council takes that into consideration and tables that matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kamara Tiller.
Good evening. I believe I get to speak later on the agenda item concerning my property, 429 Buell Avenue and 426 Division later. But I did want to just go over some base items there. We discovered this just looking to do home maintenance and upgrades, stuff like that, just to make the property more usable for us. And in order to move forward with any of that, we need to get this approved first. The structure we are looking to rent out is older. It was originally built in 1898, remodeled, and then we just moved from there, and we currently rent that out now. We've rented it out to a teacher for the past almost 3 years now. Solid tenant. We've had no issues, no concerns with him going forward. And I know that on the concerns of creating more work for the city itself, we actually have already had neighborhood services out, and they informed me that the initial inspection they do for owner-occupied properties, they do that to make sure everything's correct. If it's not, they'll do a re-inspection and ensure that things are fixed. We've already had that. We've cleared all their hurdles, and that's why we were more comfortable moving forward now. Also, with the planning staff, they set enough conditions for us that we felt comfortable that even if the variation of use extends beyond our ownership, that we would hope that the next owner would also look towards the property the same way we do. We understand the concerns that maybe somebody else will come in and they won't care as much, but they would still have to face the same conditions that we would as is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to appointments. Tonight, the mayor is recommending Pastor Lonnie Posley Sr. be appointed to the Art Commission. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Absolutely.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a motion to appoint Councilman Hug to serve as Mayor Pro Tem for the term October 1st
There you
through
go.
December 31st, 2021?
So move.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Really? Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Oh, boy, here we go. Just lock and load. Aye.
And I would just comment, I have a lot of respect for Councilman Guerrero. That was a real gutsy move to step out there and help me out like that.
You're gonna pay for it, what's it?
Motion carried. Under council committee reports, Economic Development Committee report.
The Economic Development Committee had met last week. On the 14th of September at 5 p.m. here in City Hall. There were no particular projects. We actually went through and just basically talked about reports and you know what had been done. I don't have the report with me. It's on the website to see what we've done in the last quarter, or so far this year, I should say. with building permits and anything from remodels to builds, and it's quite a bit. But we did, review the warehouse, business license report, and that was for informational purposes, nothing exciting. We reviewed the city-owned property report and discussed that briefly, and formalizing a recommendation for the city council to get out from under any properties we really don't need at some point. And so we'll be working on a recommendation for that. This was more of a workshop than a standard committee meeting. We did talk about the Visit Joliet marketing campaign and the proactive approach that the Economic Development Department with Derek and Conley and Katie Smith is going to head that up, correct, Derek? And it's going to be very active, e-media, social media campaign. And we took some suggestions from the council members or the committee members to even add to a already relatively impressive proposal. So we're going to wind that up and roll it out at some point too. So we'll be back on these items once we finalize them. Like I said, it was more of a workshop. There was no specific project, economic development project to be discussed. So we were taking care of some housekeeping and trying to be visionary on moving the city forward with some marketing strategies. So we will return. Did I miss anything, Terry or Joe?
I think the only thing we brought up, having the city and maybe Three Rivers Construction Alliance, maybe put on a meeting with the business owners in the Humboldt Road corridor. We have major construction projects coming at that interchange there at 80 and Humboldt. Maybe we can have the contractors come and give an update and timeline of when the roads are gonna be closed and the construction project.
Right.
To keep our business owners up to speed. So.
At which point, if they bring it to our committee, then we certainly will relay it, unless they want to come to both meetings, we will relay their report to you. And I believe that it was Councilman Clement who suggested this, which is a good idea. This is going to be 80 from Tinley Park all the way past Joliet. It's going to be a lot of construction, has been already for the last 6 or 7 years, and it will be for the next 5 to 10 years. So that's a really wise idea. Terry, anything else that I missed?
I don't believe so.
Derek, anything I missed?
There was the discussion on the development impact fees.
Right, but we didn't finalize any recommendation on that. As I said, it was more of a workshop, but we were kind of spitballing to finalize, and we did talk about that. We did say, I know Mr. Makushka, and I agree with him, said, make sure the city doesn't forget the small businesses, the local businesses, the ones that have been here a long time. And we made some suggested adjustments to impact fees on expansion and remodelings that would predominantly the level of expenditure for that remodeling or small expansion would be small businesses, not large $1 million corporations. And we're working on setting a limit to where actually there'll be no fee below a certain amount. I think we kind of were talking about 50,000-ish or less, which, oftentimes, right, Mike, you might do a remodeling of your restrooms because you guys run a great clean business there. It might only be $20,000, right? You don't want to spend $1,500 as a small business. You shouldn't spend $1,500 just to remodel an area or to put in. So we're in agreement there. All of us are, that we have to respect and support our local businesses all the time, and especially now with all the difficulties from the COVID pandemic. So yes, Derek, that is true. You're right, but we haven't finalized that either. So basically my report is we talked about a lot of stuff and we didn't finalize anything, so I'll be back, as Arnold said. Thank you. That's our report.
Finance Committee report.
Finance Committee met this afternoon at 5:30 here in the chamber. On the Finance Committee is Cesar Guerrero, Sherry Reardon, and myself. The meeting started with a presentation on the alternative water program funding strategy. Allison Swisher brought us two individuals from Stantec, our engineering firm, and Amy Broaden and Joe Johnson, who presented a video presentation, which has been presented to one of the other committees. The recommendation from our committee is to bring that bring it to the whole at a later date here. The main points of the committee was they are dealing at this time with 11 partners, potential partners, meeting monthly. That would be part of the Water Commission. That would be 2022. the demand for the amount of water needed in 2050 is what each of the villages and units are working on. They have went to WIFIA, which is the Water Infrastructure Finance Innovation Government Program, which is willing to finance up to a maximum of 49%. The interest rates there seem to be the lowest, which are approximately the Treasury bill number. It's both financing for the project in a whole, as well as the City of Joliet's project. As you had heard earlier, Katie Napier made the financial presentation for everyone that they got to hand out that we already have. Monthly financial report then was given by Mr. Gandati. Financially, as in last month, everything is trending up. We're up about 10% from where we budgeted. Building permits are leading the way. Ambulance fees are up, and the gaming revenue is up. I don't know if Jim wants to add anything to the at this time. And Caesar or Sherry, if you have anything else to add, that's my report.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Pat, that presentation, are they gonna come and give that whole presentation? Because didn't we all meet with them separately about that?
This was a little different.
Is it different than what we saw?
What we saw.
Okay.
This presentation was 10 minutes, I guess.
Okay, I spent a whole hour with them.
Right, and so they've added some items to that they've moved ahead on some more information with some of the other communities that they're meeting with and what our requirements are going to be.
So they just add to what we've already seen then, or are they gonna do, okay, I didn't know if we were gonna have the whole presentation.
Yeah, no.
Okay, that
Well,
was
I guess we could, but no.
That was long.
We've
Okay.
had that already.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Land Use and Legislative Committee report.
Yes, Your Honor, we met almost a couple of weeks ago, Wednesday, September the 8th at 4 p.m. here in the council chamber. The committee members, myself, Councilwoman Quillman, and Councilman Clement. We had about a 3-hour meeting, so this might be a long report. So just bear with me. We had about 45 minutes of just citizens being heard on agenda items. So we really heard from a lot of the citizens on various agenda items and put a lot of time in there. And I guess Chris saw it on my face that I was just stressed, so he volunteered to come tonight and go over the agenda for me. So he'd probably keep it a little shorter than I would, Mr. Mayor. That's okay. Chris, take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Okay, so, like Councilman Morris said, we did have a lengthy agenda. We hadn't had a meeting for a few months, and that was the reason for that. The first item we discussed is an amendment to the impact fees that were discussed, and that was approved unanimously by the committee for future submission. We discussed an honorary street name change of a portion of Van Buren Street right next to St. Anthony's Church, and again, that was approved and either is or will be presented to the council at some point. We discussed renumbering chapter 6.5 to chapter 7. You recall chapter 7 was repealed a few months ago, and there is a 6.5, and just to keep things orderly in the book, we're proposing just to renumber it chapter 7 because we like whole numbers better than fractions. We did discuss the video gaming push tax. That was approved, but that is not on the agenda, and that's pending further discussion and or revision at the staff level. We discussed liquor code amendments. What the liquor code amendments do is they provide local business owners with the option, if they wish, to allow a BYOB program at their establishments where they can charge a fee and allow someone to bring their own beer or wine in there to consume with their meal if they'd like to do that. That's very common in other places. That creates that option here. But more importantly, what it also regulates are we'll call them banquet facilities, but it's really event space. There are at least 3 that I know of off the top of my head in town where someone just has a place
and they'll let you use it for a fee for a set number of hours, and you bring all your own stuff in, and you bring all your own stuff out afterwards. So we know that alcohol is being consumed on those premises, and they're not licensed to do that. This will bring them into the licensing and inspection program, so those businesses will also be regulated with these liquor code amendments. And once again, these were all approved and will be sent to council. There were, at the request of our new purchasing director, there were minor amendments to the pre-qualification requirements. This allows greater flexibility for potential bidders who are pre-qualified to submit their pre-qualification paperwork. We don't want a pre-qualified responsible bidder to be shut out based on a technicality, so this offers greater flexibility for them in doing so. There's an amendment to the lewd or indecent conduct ordinance. Essentially, there's language in there that says that it's a violation of an ordinance for someone to dress in a manner not becoming of their sex, and that's not exactly where we are as a society right now, so we're proposing to strike just that language in there. There were some amendments to the Arts Commission regarding committee membership that were also approved by the committee. There were amendments to the tobacco code. All those amendments do is make our code, our tobacco code, consistent with state law. There was an inconsistency in there. We had to clean that up. In that regard, we have to be consistent. So those are the only changes in the tobacco code. Once again, all these items that I've mentioned were approved by the committee and either are or will be sent to the city council. The bulk of the discussion at the meeting was in regards to amending the rental inspection program to bring single-family rentals into the rental inspection program. There was a lot of discussion about that. That was not approved for advancement to the council. That will be readdressed in November at the next land use committee meeting. Are there any questions about any of those items? Councilman Morris, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to, we're gonna have a meeting in October, right, Chris?
That's the plan.
Right, okay.
What's the date?
We haven't set
Oh,
a
okay.
date yet, but I know Chris said the rental is coming back in November because of the time that was asked for a couple months.
The motion was for 2 months.
Right.
But we will have other things on the agenda in October.
In October, right. And then, I'd just like to mention, Mr. Mayor, and I've had conversation with, the city manager about the art commission. Myself, and I believe my committee members, they probably understood it well, but I was a little confused about some of the actions that happened at the Arts Commission meeting, and I was just I was a little unclear. So, but I guess I can discuss it a little more when it comes up tonight. And I think that's all I had. Did anybody else have any comments on anything else?
No.
You, Joe?
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, I'm not abandoning the rental inspection program. I just wanted a little bit more time to review it. I know a lot of people up here have been involved in this for many years. New to this game here, and I just need a little bit more time to review it. So that was my explanation on asking for the table, and I appreciate my colleagues, going along with it. So, thank you.
I think that's it, man.
Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
Public Service met yesterday, September 20th, 2021, here at City Hall in the council chambers. On the committee and in attendance was Councilman Morris, Councilwoman Gavin, and myself. We had 6 contract items and 1 change order and final payment item. The contract items were routine. Everything that was required to be bid out in a blind bid, a sealed bid and opened was done properly. There was 1 item that was a sole source, meaning that there was no bid process because they're the only ones that can sell or repair that item for us. So I'm not gonna go into detail other than say that all 7 items were vetted and all 7 were recommended for council approval. And they will come, not tonight, they're not on our agenda. We have a new policy when it comes to contracts and such, things coming out of public service, that once the Public Service Committee makes the recommendation one way or the other, it's 2 weeks before it makes it to the full council. That's the new policy. The only thing I would specifically mention for those that have an interest is that we are going back to, we did award a contract to Greg W. Domzik Excavating Incorporated for $92,000 for the Hickory Creek, Spring Creek cleaning project. We skipped it last year because of the unstable finances. Nobody knew whether, we were cutting corners. It's important for 2 reasons, and we're back at it, and we'll do it again like we always do every year. It's important environmentally for those 2 tributaries, and it's important for the people that live there because that's where the natural drainage goes, and we don't want to increase flooding. So it's back on the map, and we're going to be doing that Spring Creek, Hickory Creek cleanup again this year and moving forward. That's pretty much what we had. Did I miss anything, Betty or Terry?
No, I think you covered it all. Thank you.
That would be my report, Mayor. Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes, it's recommended the minutes of the combined council meeting held on September 7th, 2021 stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report, it's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Council Memo 417-21, position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill 1 part-time custodian position in the Building and Grounds Division of Community Development and 1 equipment operator 2 position in the Roadways Division of Public Works and any subsequent vacancies which may occur. Council Memo 418-21, receipt of the 2020 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Council Memo 419-21, request to approve changes to the Bureau of Justice Assistance Fiscal Year 2020 Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Program. Council Memo 420-21, purchase of 1 Ford Explorer for the Police Department Traffic Unit. Council Memo 421-21, purchase 1 Ford Explorer for the Police Department Investigations Unit. Council Memo 422-21, award of contract for the Public Utilities SCADA System Maintenance Service 2021 to Wunderlich Malik in the amount of $40,000. Council Memo 423-21, change order number 2 for the Chicago Street Roadway Improvement Project to PT Farrow Construction in the amount of negative $211,105.85 and payment number 15 and final in the amount of $173,853.35. Council Memo 424-21, change order number 4 for the 2020 Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Program to Performance Pipelining in the amount of $28,508.55. Council Memo 425-21, change order number 2 to the 2021 Drinking Water Lead and Copper Testing Contract to Suburban Laboratory in the amount of $20,000. Council Memo 426-21, change order number 1 to Managed Print Services, PO. Council Memo 427-21, amendment number 1 for the 2021 Sanitary Sewer Investigation and Rehabilitation Program Professional Service Agreement to RJN Group in the amount of $49,025. It's recommended Council Memos 419-21 through 427-21 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 429-21, denial of issuance of a Class BG liquor license at 1415 Plainfield Road, Joliet Petroleum. It's recommended a resolution be approved denying the Class BG liquor license.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve a resolution denying the Class BG liquor license. Councilman Morris?
No.
Councilman Mudrin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Quillman?
No.
Councilman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
No.
Councilwoman Gavin?
No.
Councilman Guerrero?
No.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
The motion failed, 3 ayes, 5 noes.
Do you want an affirmative motion, Krista?
Sabrina, I defer to you.
You can make a motion to approve.
Is there a motion to approve a BG liquor license at 1415 Plainfield Road to Joliet Petroleum?
So move.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve a BG liquor license at 1415 Plainfield Road. Councilman Mudrin,
No.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilman Reardon,
No.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
No.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-3. Council Memo 430-21 is an issuance of a Class B liquor license at 411 South Larkin Avenue, Posh Banquets. It's recommended Posh Banquets be issued a Class B liquor license.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under ordinances, Council Memo 322-21, excuse me, an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow the continuation of an existing rental unit above a garage, a 2-unit in an R2 single-family residential zoning district located at 429 Buell Avenue. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
It's 432-21.
What did I say? I apologize.
332, I think.
432-21, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I would, since, excuse me, the neighborhood folks have been here, and I did receive several calls on this, and they're asking us for a table for 2 months until we get this other rental thing going at, committee level, so I would make a motion to table this.
Second.
I can,
Did you prefer a specific date? Did you want the second meeting in
So
November?
it would coincide with the, single-family rental ordinance when it comes back to council in about 2 months. Or the committee, back to committee, excuse me, so whatever, 2 months. So we can discuss it at that thing. My
Okay.
issue, before we go at the table, before we, anybody, you already seconded it, or can I?
Yeah, it's already seconded.
It's been seconded.
Okay, never mind.
It's in motion and seconded to table Council Memo 432-21, which is an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow the continuation of an existing rental unit above a garage in an R2 zoning district located at 429 Buell Avenue. Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
No.
Councilman Mudrin,
No.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 433-20.
Mayor, before she proceeds, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I just want to make a comment here because it sounds like there may be a predetermined move to table it, and once we make the motion and second it, then you can't discuss it. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not sure what the reason would be to table this. I don't think that the individual who wants to do this business is in question. His business model isn't in question. Probably a great model in that industry. What's in question is best and highest use as it pertains to a very limited amount of commercial retail space in that far portion of the city in my district.
Just so we're clear, you're talking about 433-21?
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry, the very next one, for those following along. And also the objection of the residents who live around there with their subdivisions and the 2 schools that are right by it. I don't know that that's gonna change in 2 weeks, so I'm not sure, can somebody explain to me if they're going to table it, why they want to table it? I mean, I would like an explanation. Usually a tabling is, like the councilwoman just did, you needed more input, on an issue because people have reached out to you or you have an engineering problem. They say, hey, we haven't worked out the details on the agreement for a plan. The consideration before us here is what the people of District 1 wants, and what we should do as best and highest use isn't gonna change from now until then.
Okay.
It's the same question.
Who's gonna table it?
It was asked by the attorney Nate that be tabled. and
Oh,
so-
well, it's on the agenda, we should go forward. And I tend to agree with you because I did get many complaints
Right?
about this self-storage out there. When the folks out there need other things. It's just not a good fit.
Yes, Joe?
You done, Jan? I'm sorry.
That's okay, I'm done.
Yeah, for me, I like the project, this is just for me, not the location. I think there's another location somewhere in the city, maybe this guy this has nothing to do with this gentleman. I received a email from the administrator in Coal City. He had nothing but, good reviews on the gentleman. Those are my comments.
Council Memo 433-21 is an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow a self-storage facility that includes indoor climate-controlled and outdoor mini-storage units in a B1 neighborhood business district located at 1701 Droughton Road, and an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a self-storage facility that includes indoor climate-controlled and outdoor mini-storage units in a B1 district located at 1701 Droughton Road. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
Mayor, City Council, may I speak briefly to address Councilman Hugg's comments about the table?
Well, there is no table motion, so we're gonna proceed.
That was just done procedurally, just to explain, because once you have a table motion in a second, then you can't ask why. So it was.
Understood.
I was just basing it on your comment, but apparently it's not happening.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 433-21?
I would move to deny.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to deny an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow a self-storage facility at 1701 Droughton Road. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
No.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Just to echo Councilman Clements, this is, from the day one I found out about this, I did not think that was a good spot.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 434-21, an ordinance approving a variation of use and a series of variations to allow the continuation of a 2-unit in an R2 single-family residential zoning district located at 142 Aiken Avenue. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
Mayor, before we have a table or whatever on this one, again, I would like to look at this further. I did talk to Mr. Torrey, and this has been an ongoing problem. These 2 units keep popping up because they're not zoned properly, especially this one built in 1898. We discussed it yesterday as well. And a lot of them were purchased as a 2-unit because the zoning was never changed. They're illegal 2 units. And a lot of times they're purchased with cash or whatever, and no one has the correct zoning on this. So I have asked Mr. Torrey to take a look at these properties and try to get a handle on a lot of these illegal 2 units that we have that are being sold. And then unfortunately, the buyers are coming here thinking they have a 2-unit, or they discover it is not zoned properly, and now they're stuck with a single-family rental, which they think should be a 2-unit, when actually it's been an illegal 2-unit all along. And this has been this has been going on for years and years and years, and we really, really, really need to get a handle on this. We just cannot have all these rental properties within our city. And it's not just a Kappa problem, it's citywide. It truly is citywide. But with these older homes that have been illegal 2 units, 3 units for many, many years, we need to get a handle on this. And we need to have brochures or something of that nature to inform these attorneys that are not familiar with our ordinances, to get familiar, and so their clients that are relying on their attorneys don't get, messed up in the end. And this has happened time and time and time again. So to take a lot off our plate, again, this is gonna be difficult, but Mr. Torrey, what was your thought on that?
We could put together a report for you and explain what we go through and how we evaluate these, and like you said, the history of these types of non-conforming uses.
Thank you. So I know it's gonna take a while, but these come up all the time to us, and we've been going over this for years and years and years, and now it's time to get a handle on this. So I would move to deny this, but I don't expect to get a second.
There's a motion to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
Krista, before the vote, what is the staff recommendation on this?
It was for approval.
It was motion and seconded to deny an ordinance approving a variation of use and a series of variations to allow the continuation of a 2-unit in an R2 zoning district located at 142 Aiken Avenue. Councilwoman Gavin,
No.
Councilman Guerrero,
No.
Councilman Hug,
No.
Councilman Morris,
No.
Councilman Mudrin,
No.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
No.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
The motion failed. 2 ayes, 6 nays. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 434-21, which is an ordinance approving a variation of use and series of variations to allow the continuation of a 2-unit in an R2 zoning district at 142 Aiken Avenue?
So moved.
Second then?
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
No.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
No.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 435-21 is an ordinance amending the 2021 annual budget for the city of Joliet and award a contract for plan review software and hardware project. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Question?
Yes.
Just for clarification, in case I've forgotten. Jim, this is for our development and so forth, right?
Yes, it's the planning software. that
Right, the one we discussed 2 weeks
Yes,
ago.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 436-21 is an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 1, Section 4-1, Definitions, Ordinances of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances, adding a BYOB provision and amending the definition of sale. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
I just wanted to clarify before I cast my vote, for anybody that might be watching, BYOB may confuse them. This just means that if you have a liquor license, your clients can pay a fee and bring their own booze, but you have to have a liquor license. It's not like somebody without a liquor license is allowed to have BYOB parties. Did I say that correctly, Jim?
I'm not sure. It was my understanding that, in this particular case, it does say that, the background is that if you're already licensed to allow patrons to
I
bring
just wanted
their
to
own
clarify
beer.
for people
Right.
watching, so they weren't
So
confused.
oftentimes, people will bring a very expensive bottle of wine to a restaurant for a particular celebration, and sometimes the restaurant will charge a corkage fee to serve it, but this allows them to do that.
Thank you. I just wanted to make that clear for anybody watching,
Yes,
so they
sir.
weren't confused.
And if I may just add to that, not every restaurant will allow you to bring your own bottle of wine, so you have to get permission before you can do it, but this gives them permission, as the city manager said, and the corking fees could be anywhere from $5 to $20, depending on the restaurant. Just to clarify that, so people want to know that.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 437-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 9, Division 7, Section 2-313.12 of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances, adding the authorization to create subcommittees and membership thereof. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
I'll move the table.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 437-21. Councilman Mudrin,
No.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye. Oh, it's move to table, I'm sorry. No to the table. I apologize.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 437-21 has been tabled.
Do we have a date when you want to bring it back, Councilman?
Oh, it sounds like 2 months is the,
No, because in 2 months, we're gonna have a really long agenda. Are you kidding me, Terry?
why it's gonna be so long? It's just gonna be
Because
two-
everything's being tabled for 2 months.
It's just gonna be 2 items on the agenda.
Yeah, really. So far, there's 2.
There's only 2 items.
Next is Council Memo 438-21, an ordinance amending the numbering of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances, renumbering chapters 6.5 to 7. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 439-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 6, Tobacco Regulations, Section 4-81, Ordinance of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 440-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 21, Article 5, Division 1, Section 21-64, Ordinance of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances, removing language restricting type of clothing which may be worn. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 441-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 13, Division 2, Section 2-447, Ordinance of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances, amending the procedure for submittal of pre-qualification documentation. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 442-21, an ordinance and resolution associated with Cherry Hill Business Park West Unit 6 subdivision. This includes an ordinances approving the preliminary plat, the final plat, and the recording plat of Cherry Hill Business Park West Unit 6 subdivision Phase 1, and a resolution approving an off-site easement for storm detention for the Cherry Hill Business Park West Unit 6 subdivision. Is there a motion to approve said ordinances and resolution?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 443-21, an ordinance and resolution associated with 3501 Shanahan Road. This includes a resolution approving the First Amendment to the annexation agreement concerning property at 3501 Shanahan Road to allow truck parking, and an ordinance approving the reclassification of 4.27 acres located at 3501 Shanahan Road from B3 General Business to I1 Light Industrial Zoning. It's recommended said ordinance and resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 445-21, a resolution approving an honorary street name for Reverend Michael Valente on Van Buren Street between Mayor Art Schultz Drive and Scott Street. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 446-21 is a resolution authorizing a community development block grant subrecipient agreement with Forest Park Community Center. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor, can we have an explanation on that, please? From the city manager?
Jim?
Yes, this had been pre-approved under CDGB grant earlier by the council, but this is a specific funding for the Forest Park Community Center, which does tremendous community work, and it's in this area. It qualifies for all of the what is required under CDGB development, and this is a particular project that the Park District does for facilities and improvements under this particular program for the community center. It provides numerous resources, which includes food pantries and to the residents of the area. It's just not, it has to be for a specific project, and so that's what this is for.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Councilwoman.
Ms. motion and seconded to approve Council Memo 446-21, a resolution authorizing a community development block grant subrecipient agreement with Forest Park Community Center. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Because this resolution affects my employer, I am going to abstain from the vote.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 447-21, a resolution authorizing a community development block grant subrecipient agreement with Northern Illinois Food Bank. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
And Mayor, I'd ask for another explanation on that as well. City manager, please.
Again, this money goes to the Great Northern Food Bank. There is, which is services economically depressed communities in Joliet. This money is used to, as they see fit, to buy food. It's a significant amount of money. It's something that they depend on, and they again serve kind of underserved communities here in Joliet, and they do a really nice job of doing that. So this was something that we had voted on earlier in terms of the CDBG funding. These are some of the groups that were identified. So we and the staff support this particular endeavor.
And thank you for that, because I do get a lot of questions. Well, what is the CDBG, and how does this happen, and where does the money go? So that's why I asked for these explanations tonight. Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 447-21?
So moved. Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Council Memo 448-21 is a resolution adopting a sub-grantee policy for the Bureau of Justice Assistance Grant. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Next is the city manager's report.
I would just like to say, thanks, everybody. I know it's been a long meeting today. I'd like to talk about CDGB funding going forward and nonprofits. We are in the process of implementing a learning or a teaching program and a certificate program so that folks that want to apply can attend a school to learn how to properly run their nonprofit, to make sure that it's done right, that their financials are done, their marketing is done correctly. We're hoping to partner with University of St. Francis to get that done. I think it's a great program. And this way, people who come to apply, we're going to ask that they have this certification prior to application, so we can make sure that they're at least trained in how these funds are to be spent, how they have to account for those funds. And I think it's a way for us to care for taxpayer dollars, even though it's grant money. It's still the citizens' money, and we want to make sure that it's spent wisely, prudently, and that we're just not giving it away to some company that comes in with a plan that isn't really well done. These are two established organizations, but I'm going to make sure that everybody that even applies, even if it's the YMCA or Daybreak, anybody that applies for any Joliet grant money will have to have attended this course, because if it's good enough for the small nonprofits, it's good enough for the big ones as well. So I want to be even-handed, and I think it's going to be a great program. So look forward to partnering here with and rolling that out with the University of St. Francis at some point. So that concludes my remarks. Does anybody else have any questions of me?
Yes.
Yeah, Jim, so will it be a tuition? And you said it's going to be
Yes,
school?
they will have to, this way they have a little bit of skin in the game. They'll get a certificate from St. Francis, and then they'll be able to take that certificate. But it has everything from accounting to marketing to how to file the paperwork with various tax agencies in the state of Illinois, so that we're looking out for them as well. When folks often have a good idea, they just kind of fill out the paperwork to get a 501(c), and that's about the extent of it, because that's not very difficult. The hard part is always in the operational of that. So how to market themselves, how to raise money for themselves, so that they do not necessarily have to be reliant on just government grants in order to operate their facility, but they can look outside as well and be able to market themselves as well.
Right. But I mean, a lot of them is seeking this funding because they don't have any money. Will they be able to afford the tuition, or?
We haven't determined a price point on tuition, so I can't speak to that. But clearly, these are employees of St. Francis. So, like I said, we need to make sure that this makes sure that they're serious about this, and not just somebody who comes up. It's not going to be tens of thousands of dollars, but clearly, if you have enough money to be able to file for a 501(c), and you're serious and your heart is in it, you'll be able to find the money to be able to afford this course.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I might, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay. Jim, I'm loving the concept. This is good, not only for the nonprofits, but it's good for the city as well for these partnerships. I also am engaged with the University of St. Francis, the project that they have, and the opportunities that they give nonprofits, and everything from board governance to marketing to everything. It's always great for entities like the nonprofits. You walk away, you learn, you move forward, and so it's valuable information. I just hope that the tuition
It's not going to be.
is
It's not going to be. We'll make sure that it's
our grasp,
yeah.
but we certainly
Yeah,
appreciate
nobody's
it.
charging tens of thousands of dollars or $5,000.
Right.
It'll be reasonable. And again, we're asking professionals to be able to do this work. And so we expect them to be compensated for that. And it is a fantastic resource. It allows them to also network with other nonprofits.
Absolutely.
And get good ideas and share ideas. So I don't know what that looks like. I'll be sensitive to the money issue. We'll keep it as low as possible. But it's just something that I would like to have as a requirement before you can even apply here, is that it shows that you're serious about doing this. You've taken
Absolutely,
a course.
because the work
and
is
you're willing
critical.
to do it, and not get some guy who says, hey, look, this is a great idea. I'll just ask for some money. So
Thank you.
thank you, Councilwoman.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Jim. It was only a month ago that we did 2 rounds of CDBG money, and we happened to have 3 of the same companies twice, and we had that very public discussion here. You turned this around really quick in reaching out and offering a program for some of the smaller
Right,
individuals.
we're trying, again, we haven't rolled it out yet, but we're gonna get there.
No, but I'm saying, no, it was only a month ago.
Right.
That's quick, thank you. I do share the same concern as Terry and Betty. I don't, certainly, whatever input we have, look at the cost. Now, St. Francis is not an inexpensive college.
No.
My daughter is in her 4th year of nursing there. It's worth every penny when you go there. But I am hoping that the per hour cost for these nonprofits won't be the same as it is for the.
Right, it's just gonna be, it's not gonna be college credit, it's just gonna be a course on, you have to, complete this, and they'll have various people come in and talk to you. And it's not gonna be a couple of hours either. It's gonna be a fairly robust program. So I want people to be successful.
Right, so you just want to make sure that it's affordable for some of them. You had mentioned that if they can afford the $600 to $800 for a simple incorporation, that may be the only $600 or $800 they had to get it off the ground.
Right.
So let's keep it tight, work really closely, obviously, with the St. Francis folks.
Sure.
It's a great institution. And I'm sure they're going to be sympathetic to that too. This isn't a regular college course, so just wanted to point that out. But thank you, because you turned that around real quick.
Thank you, Councilman, I appreciate it.
Just another quick question. Do we have an expectation of the timeline for when this program might be?
No,
ready to
we're
start?
supposed to get back together, I think, either early next month to find out where we're at on the status of this. And I spoke a little bit premature, but I wanted to let you know that this is something that we've been talking about with them and trying to get it off the ground. But they're gonna come up with the POI for the instruction, and take a look at that. So, and so there's, there's gonna be some dialogue on that and to see how that goes forward, so.
New business not for final action or recommendation.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, the American Rescue Plan funding, I know it was brought up today in finance, but, I'd like to see if we can start the process moving forward. There is funding, there's a lot of organizations out there that can desperately use some funding. And I was hoping that this council and Jim, if we could get moving on it and maybe each one of us up here can send you an email on the top 5 places we'd like to, maybe help out, because I know it's gonna be redundant. We're gonna probably have the same on this list. The Joliet Park District lost $3.5 million during this pandemic, and, they're one of many. And, I'd just like to see if we can get some funding to some organizations out there, and at least get the ball rolling. So, thank you.
Betty?
I am not.
Caesar? Larry? Yeah, just real quickly, and dovetails with Councilman Clements. I thought we were looking in, but we had discussed on how much would qualify for the city's needs first as far as infrastructure. Are we still doing that, Jim? Are we still looking at?
Yeah, well, any dollars we have that go out, regardless of if we're able to replace dollars that we get for the Americans Relief Act, say for police and fire, then that frees up dollars we could spend on infrastructure. But if we turn around and take that money that we were gonna spend on infrastructure and give it to a nonprofit, we're not gonna have that money. The money's going out, and the city has not normally been, we normally take federal money that's earmarked to go to other outside organizations only, and normally that's the money that we then disperse as a pass-through. But we have not, the city of Joliet has not traditionally
Right,
taken
but my
on.
question is more focused on, and Jim Gadati might chime in on this too. I remember the number, about 14 million of the 22.5 million. There was about 14 million at the time, unless they changed the formula, Jim Gadati, that you had said would probably qualify, which would be things that the city needs to do first. Any money left over, certainly, you know, if there is money left over, it can be distributed to, you know, so many worthy causes, but we have to take care of this first. Where are we at with that, Jim Gadati?
You're correct. One of the categories is called revenue replacement. You have to go,
You wanna step up, Jim?
Sorry, my mic went out. So under the category of revenue replacement, the city, based on the formula that the federal government put out, lost about $14 million in 2020, and we got $11 million through the American Rescue Plan. So we can use that money at the council's discretion. The formula will have to be redone next year and compared 2019 to 2021 revenue. And then if we don't reach that threshold, then there's other categories, I think 4 other categories that we can invest that money in. As of the 2020 money, 2020, this year's money that we received, the city can use it for revenue replacement, basically anything we want.
Okay. All right, thank you. So let's all keep in mind that as a city of 150,000 people, third largest city in the state, not to beat the same drum repeatedly, we certainly have to get a lot closer from 2.8 million to 12.5 million throughout the city, spread around for street improvements and repairs.
Terry?
Yeah, real quick, I just want to kind of get clear on the one agenda item that we tabled about the Carriage house. I don't remember the number, but I know Councilwoman Coleman, we're going to be meeting in a couple months with the single family rental. I was just trying to tie the two in together. So, because we're looking at inspections for single family rentals, and I'm hoping and believing and praying that 2 months that we come with something, because this has been going on, as Councilwoman Coleman has reminded us, for a very long time. So
Years and years.
So I got my fingers, my toes, everything crossed. That in 2 months, we'll have something. So what will we be looking for that would change what the gentleman was petitioning us for today, this evening, you know, in that?
Well, I can answer that.
That's what I want.
Oh, okay.
It didn't matter who had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it has nothing to do with his particular house. That particular house is about the zoning and the extra property with the 2 addresses that I wanted staff to research why we have the 2 addresses, because there's other homes in Joliet that have those 2 addresses, and I know they're tied to the PIN, but it's very confusing when it's just an accessory item to the original home. Understand?
Yeah, I understand that, but
I wanted clarification on that
Okay.
for future reference for that particular property. And then there are other properties along with that, so we need some clarification on that when there's 2. Sometimes it's a single family home and another single family, but they are either together or they're separate, and that's what I wanted to check with this property.
Right, but and again, I was under the impression that it had something to do with the 2 months that we were gonna do to come back for a committee for the single family rental.
Well, that was because the gentleman came up and asked us to do that when the single family rental thing came up. He asked us to do that.
Okay, so we need, so the single family rental people, I know Joe gonna be meeting with them, and I thank you, Joe, for not, making a quick decision to get brought up to speed. So they need to be focusing on something else other than the rental for the single family? Because that's basically what this 2 months we're supposed to be meeting. We're not meeting, but, because we can't meet unless we do a public meeting. But I know Chris, and Chris has stepped out, is gonna be meeting with landlords, with the neighborhood organization about coming up with a proposal for rental inspections for single-family home. And I just didn't, maybe I was looking into it too much, didn't understand what it had to do with us tabling this gentleman. But if you're saying it's because of the two addresses.
Because of the two addresses I asked, and then the other issue with that, that will be on the rental inspection program anyway, because he's seeking the R3 zoning.
Right, he's gonna be in the rental program.
He's gonna be in it anyway,
Anyway,
right.
And
It
that's
really
why
had nothing to do with it, it was just, he requested that, that's why I did that.
the other gentleman that,
Yes.
that got up there.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, got you.
That's separate issue.
Thank you.
Pat?
No.
Jim?
Okay, I did get some complaints, and I did discuss this with Tori, and we need to know the status of Broadway and Hutchins, the tire place that was supposed to do 18-wheeler tires and do landscaping and everything, and not one mandatory condition was, they had 90 days, nothing has been done over there, and I've been getting complaints, but then I also was told that the gentleman said the city was giving him problems about getting things done, and so I didn't quite believe that, so I took it up with Mr. Torrey, and he's gonna take it from there.
Sure, thank you, and from what I found out today is that he has engaged with us on, completing his improvements. It's my understanding that he wants to complete those improvements. There are.
But he hasn't done anything as of yet.
No, but
Okay,
he.
just to make that clear.
Yes, you are correct. But he has engaged with us about proceeding with those. Our engineering department has found drainage issues on the property, catch basins for stormwater within the parkways. So it's more complicated than what we originally thought, and he hired an engineer to work with our engineers to try to figure this out. It may be a larger project than what we thought, just adding curbs and landscaping and so forth. It may be that he has to rip up his entire parking lot in order to complete these improvements. So we are looking into that, and our engineering division is evaluating with his engineer what steps need to be taken to go forward in order to complete those. He has not, to my understanding, fully opened up the truck repair business, the truck tire business. There's been questions on whether that operation, if he decided not to do it. It's, again, my understanding that he has not opened it up that fully because he wanted to do the improvements first.
And just along those lines, I understand not wanting to do the sidewalk and the grass and the bushes and everything because you might have to dig everything up. However, where the dumpster sits faces the neighborhood, and that was supposed to be screened, and it is not. It's sitting there, as I sent you the picture today. It's sitting there wide open, and to
Yes.
me, I just
And
don't
we
think
can
this
see-
is good faith. It's not good faith because it's been well over 90 days. And I just, as we talked earlier, I would think that he would have said something towards you or to the city manager to at least get an extension and tell him the reasons why. But we had to dig into this to find out all this information. And I'm getting complaints about it from the neighbors, so.
You're
Thank you.
correct. We could have given you an update, but he has been engaged with city departments, and we'll follow up.
We can
with
do a
it.
little bit of something there, so people will know
Yeah.
that he's trying to do it in this, with
If
this
the
drainage
screening of
issue,
the
that's not his
dumpsters-
that's not his fault, because you said the engineers didn't know it was gonna be that bad, so.
Yeah.
All
We'll,
right,
we'll look into maybe getting him to screen the dumpsters if that location isn't, problematic with his other issues there.
it's in the back.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sherry?
Next is public comments. Douglas Casper.
Greetings of peace, Mr. Mayor and City Council. On this day of international peace dedicated by the United Nations. My name is Doug Casper, and I live here in Joliet at 4 South Prairie Avenue. It was about 10 years ago that I bought this home in Joliet that was in need of much repair. After making the repairs, I dedicated it as the first home of hospitality in the tradition of the Catholic worker movement. If you're not familiar with what that is, we take care of the poor directly as much as we can, although we also advocate to end war, poverty, the destruction of the environment. And with that said, I am here today representing Campaign Nonviolence, the Nonviolent City Project, focusing on Joliet. This is a project to reduce the violence by building caring relationships among all people in Joliet. It is an idea and a vision, we believe, whose time has come, with over 50 cities actively involved in nonviolent city projects across our nation. We will be reaching out to everyone in Joliet, from our elected representatives and senators, all religious and civil leaders, youth and grassroots activists, the poor, the marginalized, the educators, healthcare workers, housing authorities, police, and media, and not necessarily in that order. No, we live in a culture of violence. It seems that we lost respect for the sacredness and the dignity of human life. Nonviolent cities will address racism, poverty, homelessness, and violence at every level and in every form. Dismantle housing segregation and pursue racial, social, and economic nonviolent integration. Address police violence and institutionalize police nonviolence. Organize to address domestic violence and teach nonviolence between spouses and nonviolence towards all children. Address gang violence and teach nonviolence to gang members. Teach nonviolence in every school. Help get rid of guns, gun shows, and local weapon manufacturers. Pursue more nonviolent immigration programs and policies. Take steps to oppose every form of structural violence, including sexism and homophilia. Get religious leaders and communities to promote nonviolence and the vision of a new nonviolent city. Reform local jails and prisons so that they are more nonviolent, and educate guards and prisoners in nonviolence. We will put up signs calling for nonviolence everywhere in the community, addressing local environmental destruction, climate change, and environmental racism, and pursue clean water, solar, and wind power, and 100% green community, and in general, do everything possible to help our local community become more disarmed, more reconciled, more just, more welcoming, more inclusive, and more nonviolence. Can I go on?
If you can wrap it up, please.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, nonviolent strategies work. It'll take us all, but working together, we can make a difference. We must be the peace that we wish to see. We must be the nonviolence that we wish to see. I'd like to end with a quote from our late President John Kennedy. Nonviolence is a daily, a weekly, a monthly process, gradually changing opinions, slowly eroding old barriers, quietly building new structures. Now, would like to present every council member and Mr. Mayor with a T-shirt of the Nonviolent City Project, if that's okay with you.
You can hand it to the clerk, please. Hand it to the clerk, please.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments this evening? Seeing none, next is mayor and council comments.
Joe.
The only thing I have, I drove by the old Kmart today. It looks like they're putting up fencing for some construction. So it looks like Tony's Finer Foods is gonna be on the way here. So,
Eddie, Caesar? September 17, 1787 in Philadelphia, our Constitution was finalized and signed. Let's celebrate the anniversary of the birthday of our Constitution, the foundation of our great nation. So I suggest everybody get it, read it, respect it, believe it.
Terry?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Pat?
Two items. The county invited us all to a ribbon cutting on September 10th at the Will County Health Department. Susan Olenek, who is the head of the health department, was there. Many others were there, did a great job. And the next day, 9/11, many of us were there at the county courthouse. Jennifer Bertino, Karen started the procedure, and obviously we're all there for the 20th anniversary, and I congratulate them and doing a good job. That's it.
Jim?
Just a couple things. A constituent asked me about the loud noise, that thought we had an ordinance against these loud noises when people drive their cars late at night with the bass up and down. So I did discuss it with the chief of police, and she said that she would look into it and up the patrols in the area and probably start writing tickets again, because that's been a problem all summer long. And city manager, Mr. Jim, Larkin Avenue, and not Larkin Avenue, Jefferson Avenue with the old Senor Tequila, there has been no movement. Can we put pressure on these people? Didn't they get the well fixed, I thought?
I will get an update for you, Councilwoman, that's all I can do.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you this ahead of time, I just thought,
No,
maybe
that's
you
all right.
knew, I apologize.
I
not
don't,
to put you
I
on the
will,
spot.
okay, no worries.
It's just, it's become, it's horrible when you drive down Jefferson Street. It's just all this construction, but nothing's going. They tore the building down, but then you have all this mess there. So that's all I have. With the other 9/11, I would agree with Mr. Mudrin. It was a wonderful ceremony and very heartfelt. And we didn't do this in the beginning of the meeting, Mayor, but if we could do it now, Joliet PD lost one of their own, Mr. Hernandez, Joseph Hernandez, from esophageal cancer. He's only 35 years old, and he was on the department for 7 years, and it was very, very sad. So could we just now have a moment of silence for him? Thank you. That's all I have. Be well and stay safe, everyone.
Mr. Mayor, Jan and Jim, I actually was driving down Jefferson today. They got some pretty big equipment on that.
It's
lot.
been sitting there not doing anything.
But they were out there working. They were,
Today?
and then they had some steel things that looked like the rafters or something. You know, I'm not a construction guy, but it looked like they had the building, the steel.
Terry,
Whatever.
were they moving?
The people working, yeah, they were moving. I mean, but
No, was the equipment moving? I mean, I'm telling you, I go by there almost every day, and there's nothing. It's just sitting.
No, they were moving. I would have pulled over if they hadn't been.
Because they knew there was a council meeting tonight.
Right. No, they were moving.
Terry? A couple of things. Number one, again, to echo the 9/11 ceremony at the courthouse. Very well done, 20th anniversary. Councilman Mudrin, Councilwoman Quillman were both there in attendance with me. The same evening, New Orleans North was a big success in downtown Joliet. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for, again, trying to keep these things going, especially coming out of COVID. This last Saturday, they had the, I think, LEDA group put on the Joliet Latino Music Fest. They stepped in the place of Alianza, who was unable to do the Fiesta en La Cali because of COVID. So that, I was there in the afternoon. Looked like it was a very good success. Well done. And of course, the annual Mexican Independence Day Parade. I think we announced this was the 60th anniversary. It was put on by Marge Franchini, whose parents began this parade, and families put it on every year. There are thousands of people on Collins Street to celebrate that. It's a wonderful day, so thank you to Marge and everyone involved in that. And then finally, a sad day for our city. On the 14th last week was the final day of the closing of Chicken and Spice. A lot was said about this in the media, but certainly I want to thank the Reimer family for their investment and commitment to downtown Joliet over the years. They certainly saw some of the rougher days downtown, but it's a great Joliet institution. It's sad to see them go, but it was really nice. They went out giving away free food for several hours that day. So thank you to them. I wish them the best of luck in retirement. That's all I have.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.